What's going on, podcast listeners? My name is Michael Chernow. I am a restaurateur and lifestyle entrepreneur, and I am truly obsessed with living a life better than yesterday through wellness, fitness, and good vibes. I've always wondered if the drive to succeed is something we are born with, or if it's something that is made over time through grit, drive, and perseverance. I get to answer that question exactly, and the goal of this podcast is to talk with people that have absolutely crushed it in life and have inspired me to do the same. This is Born or Made. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Born or Made podcast. Today, I've got a unbelievable guest on the show. He's a guy I have been watching on the silver screen for some time. He is a tried and true killer in the game of real estate. Ryan Serhant is the star of Bravo's $1 Million Listing. He's had a couple of other shows as well. He is a New York Times bestselling author. He just launched a new book called Big Money Energy. Ryan is one of these guys that has truly created and lived the American dream. And I cannot wait to find out whether Ryan is born or is the man made, or I would argue to say he's going to say a little bit of both. But welcome to Born or Made, Ryan Serhant.
Thank you very much for having me. Did you say you watched me on the silver screen because my hair is so gray?
I've watched that change too. It
happens. That was definitely, I wasn't born with gray hair. I was definitely made into, a stressed out New Yorker with tons of gray hair at an early age. But thank you so much for having me, man. Looking forward to it. Let's get into it. This will be fun.
Yeah, man. I miss seeing you at the City Harvest Gala. We've sat at the same table. And the last time I saw you, I think you and your wife was pregnant. And now you have.
They were about to have the baby. She was big. I think Chrissy Teigen was performing that night. Was that what it was? Right. And, and John Legend, and she was super pregnant too. And, we've since had a baby. She is now crazy. So we are full-fledged parents living it up.
All right, dude. So the way this podcast goes is pretty simple. It's really just sort of an open dialogue, really fun conversation. The topic of conversation that we'll get into throughout the pod is this born or made nature nurture thing. I believe that people that are extraordinary, that do extraordinary things, that sort of get to levels where you've gotten, potentially have some sort of inherent ability to just get after it, and they only know one speed. I think that is typically what it takes to get there. And I would love to learn, what your experience with that is and how you feel that has sort of surfaced in your life. The way we get there is through learning about your story. So I would love to learn about Ryan from way back when, as early as you can remember, and understand how you got to where you're at now.
From way back when. Well, I am 36. I was born in Texas, in Houston, on a mattress in a house in the middle of the night. Grew up a little in Texas. I basically bounced around to 8 different houses by the time I hit 4th grade. My parents were divorced when I was 2 days old. My mom remarried. She married her boss. And so that's why my name is Ryan Serhant. I was born Ryan Parker. And so then I was adopted that way. And then kind of grew up a little bit outside Long Island. And my family is made up of, between 2 marriages, 3 sisters and 2 brothers. So there's 6 of us, and really kind of settled down outside Boston. Everyone in my family is good with math, and they're all good at sports, except for me. And a lot of them have names that start with J. So it's, my dad's John, little brother Jack, older brother Jim. I got a sister named Jill. and then you got Ryan. And so I think it makes sense that I didn't follow along the family path. But I always had an interest when I was younger for performing. Like I would perform for my parents. I'd put on magic shows. The minute I could save up enough to get my own video camera, which back in the day was really expensive in the early 90s.
Can I just stop you there for a second?
Yeah.
So like that's a great place to start with this nature nurture question. So you said that you've always had this aspiration to perform as early as you can remember. Can you recall why? Like what was it about that? Was it attention? What was it about that? Or was it, did you know that you were good at it?
Yeah, I think the born or made idea is an interesting one to me, because I think that like everybody has it within themselves to be something special. And most people just don't know what it is. So you have to go and find it. And I think a lot of people are fortunate enough to have parents or teachers or mentors who can help them dig it out, who see that spark, who see that light, who say, wow, you have a voice. Let's work on that. Or wow, you're really good with a ball. Let's work on that. Or wow, you're really good with numbers. You're really good with whatever it might be. And then I think the rest of the world, unfortunately, has to figure it out on their own because they have parents or teachers or mentors who just don't give a shit. And so, I was fortunate that I had this kind of inkling of an idea that I liked to perform and put on performances and make little short movies, like that I actually knew that I liked that from a very early age, like 6, 7, 8 years old, where I think a lot of my friends just sort of liked watching TV, or like playing soccer. And my mom, encouraged it. And my biological dad also had the same interest. Like he loved Broadway and theater and, movies and how they were made and that whole process. So we had that connection there. And then my parents allowed me to explore it, not to the extent that I wanted to. If it were up to me, I would have gone to like a performing arts high school and a performing arts, college, and no way in hell would my parents ever let me do that. So I went to a regular high school and a regular college to be well-rounded, just in case the acting thing never worked out, which thank God I did, because the acting thing did not work out. So, it was definitely something that was, grown, I think, inside me. That I don't know if it would have been otherwise. Like, had I not moved to Boston and had the friends that I did there and had the environment that I did there and the teachers I did there, if I still lived in Houston, Texas, like I would not be the me that I would talk much slower. I would probably be far more relaxed. I don't know. And had I not gotten into real estate in 2008 and just done what my plan B was, which is, all right, the acting thing didn't work out, ran out of money in New York City. Let me go home and recalibrate and think it through and see what I want to do with my life. I would have moved home to Colorado, because that's at that time where my parents lived. And I don't know where I'd be today. I definitely wouldn't have come back to New York. It's probably still be in Colorado.
But don't you think, so just like a quick note for me, like, don't you think the most successful real estate agents are performers? Like, don't you think that there's an element of performance in your, I mean, obviously, well, you have a TV show, so you're definitely performing there, but in general, like, I feel like the best salespeople tend to be phenomenal performers.
Yeah. Now, I don't think you didn't need to in years past, but now, given how things are bought and sold through the internet, right, through content, the more that you can put on a show, the more you'll be able to sell. And it's not so much performance as it is confidence, right? Kind of having that confidence and having that energy to be able to position yourself as somebody that you should buy from or someone that you should sell with, right? That goes a long, long way. And when you have that, I mean, think about anything. Like, someone might be really, really, really shy and be stuck inside their own skin, but they've got one thing they're super confident about, even if it's like Star Trek films, and if you open up that can of worms with them, they're going to go to town on you about Star Trek because they know it all, but it's only because they have that knowledge base and that confidence there. So if you can build up that level of confidence and kind of switch your energy, you can be a performer all day long. And for me, like when I got into real estate, it was, I was very self-conscious, and I was not from New York, and I didn't have a suit. And I literally just got into it to rent apartments because my friend told me to, and said it's super easy. Post ads on Craigslist and you'll be able to make your rent money and your food money. And then you'll have the rest of your month to do this acting thing that you want to do. And I just kind of got addicted to it because it was kind of the same business as acting. It was memorize information. Okay, so memorize lines about buildings, so I could talk about facts, memorize information about the block, about neighborhoods. All right, super easy. And then just improv. You're going to meet somebody that you don't know, and you're going to do an improv with them and slowly try to get them to a yes. That's improv 101. That's Upright Citizens Brigade. That's Saturday Night Live. Like, you meet somebody, start a conversation, and try to get them to a yes. And that's how my career started. And I just made it into a game. And the rejection, where most people quit, wasn't terrible for me because I was so used to being rejected to my face because of my face. Like,
tell me about the acting stuff and what you did there and when you knew that shit wasn't going to work out.
I knew it wasn't going to work out when I ran out of money. And I knew I wasn't willing to sleep on the street. Like, I wasn't willing to become a bartender. I wasn't willing to really, really, really sacrifice a lot in my life for my art. And I think like I realized that in 2008. And I think that's when I really knew, like, okay, I'm not going to get lucky doing this. Someone's not going to pick me out of a hat. I tried. And so if I really want to pursue this, I got to love acting so much that I'm willing to die for it. Like, I'm willing to shrivel up as an 80-year-old man in a studio apartment in the East Village and die for it, right? Like, Morgan Freeman didn't become the Morgan Freeman until I think he was like 52 or something. Like, and so I was 22. It's like, am I willing to eat scraps for 30 years because I love this so much? And my internal answer was, you know what? No, man, life's short. And I want to be successful. I thought it would be as an actor. So I trained and studied to do that for a very, very long time. And you know what? It's okay. It's probably not going to be that. And this real estate thing is kind of crazy, kind of sucks. It's really insane. Everyone's really mean and lies to you all day long. But I think I kind of get it, and I understand the system, and I think I can make this work. But the acting thing for me, like this, and the business of theater, the business of film, the business of acting, once you graduate high school or graduate college, whatever, is very different from the craft, right? The craft, when you're in school, it's like, it's all awesome, right? Because it's all make-believe. You're playing an old man, it's all just kind of going after the art form. But once you have bills and responsibility and you need to make income, like, and you got to pay taxes, like, it becomes very, very different.
I have a really funny story about acting. So I too, at a young age, was after this acting career, and I went to a performing arts high school, and in the city.
Where, in New York?
Yeah, I went to LaGuardia, and when I graduated from high school, I was like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this acting thing. I'd always worked in restaurants all throughout high school. But anyway, I went to LA to just try to do this thing. And I landed this is my claim to fame. I landed an independent film called Rattlesnake Heart. And I was like, dude, I made it. I'd been in LA for like a month. I went on this casting or this audition. Anyway, we get out to the middle of the desert, and it was like up by Palm Springs or something. And first day, and it was like a full crew. I was like, this is it. First day of shooting was totally great, working on my lines and the whole thing. Second day of shooting was like a love scene, right? With me and this woman. They handed me a leather jockstrap.
Wow.
And this was a fucking porn.
Wow. Was that not
it was not. That was
not in the script?
There was love scenes, right? It was like love scene, boom, like love scene. But it was legit, either a soft porn or a porn. I basically was like, as soon as they handed me that jockstrap, I was like, I'm out of here. This is it. This is how they do it. That's how they do it. It was
That's how they get you in there, yeah.
That's how they get you in there. It was totally wild, that experience that I had. But yeah, I learned very quickly that acting wasn't for me as well. But
wait, so if I Google Rattlesnake Heart right now, there's not a big photo of you like butt naked with a jock strap on with a rattlesnake hanging around your neck? No, that never happened.
That never happened. But it was really a funny, fun experience. And I'm sure that I'm sure that that's just how they rope them in.
Yeah.
But I will say that I want to touch on the pulling the plug, because I think pulling the plug is such an important thing and very pertinent right now, right? In the time that we're in, where people have a real opportunity to pull the plug on shit that hasn't been working out for them for long periods of time. So let's just talk about pulling the plug for a second, because you pulled the plug on acting and you made a shift. And I think that that's super important to discuss. Like when you pulled it, were you just like, that's it, I'm done, I'm doing something else?
No, it wasn't like cold turkey. Or I just like stopped it one day. Art is all the time. So what I really kind of stopped doing is I stopped waking up thinking about my life as a guy who wakes up and goes to auditions and submits himself for castings, right? I was thinking about real estate first and foremost. But if, my first year, I made more money from acting and modeling than I did from real estate. Like I was still hand modeling. I was still doing random things. And real estate was really, really hard. I mean, you have to remember, I got into the business the day Lehman Brothers filed for bankruptcy. Like I had no idea what was going on. I didn't understand the business at all. So I had to learn it as I went, kind of trial by fire. And I found myself happier doing deals and making money than I was going out to endless castings and auditions and not having it amount to anything. I ended up just really choosing happiness. And I think that, as I talk to a lot of people kind of all the time about this, that's what it was for me was, if I were going to be happy going to all those auditions and meeting people and doing it, then I would be Morgan Freeman, right? I would do that till I was 52 or whatever age, all of a sudden things would start to work out for me. But it wasn't. It didn't make me happy, right? The business didn't make me happy, but the business of real estate actually did make me happy. Now it makes me really angry a lot of times. It can make me very frustrated, but I'd say, it produces far more happiness inside of me than the business of acting did. And that's why I kind of quote unquote pulled the plug, but it wasn't an overnight thing. And it was definitely a slow phasing out. And I'll tell you, actually, as I think about it, the moment I knew that, maybe this isn't what I wanted to do was I got cast in New York, it's a lot of theater, right? So I got cast in a off Broadway show of Romeo and Juliet. Okay. And I was cast in a terrible part. I was cast as like the prince, like some random guy that is, courting Juliet at the beginning, at the dance and at the party, right? And I remember we thought we were going to perform it in an actual theater, and it ended up that we were performing it at like the Hudson River Park, okay, like on the grass next to the highway is where we're going to put on this show. And like no one was going to come. It was so ridiculous. And the guy that was cast as playing Father Capulet was in his early 60s. And I'll never forget like standing there on that first day. And I was just like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like, this is so stupid. And I'd gotten my real estate license at that point, and I was kind of like wavering. And the guy playing Father Capulet was like, this is going to be it. I sent out 200 letters to every agent in the city. I think I'm finally going to get an agent at this one. I'm really happy with my performance. Let's kill it, guys. And I was just like, dude, you are so out of touch with reality. I appreciate your blind optimism. And I think I'll learn a little bit from that, but holy shit, I do not want to be that guy. And I think that's what happens when you just start believing the lies that you tell yourself about what might happen in the future. And so that's when I was like, I think right after that, I went back to my real estate office and was like, dude, I got to figure something out, because that's not the life I want to lead.
What can you walk us through your first closing or your first, I mean, I'm assuming it was probably a rent deal. But what did that feel like? Or maybe it wasn't, I don't know, but what did that feel like when you closed your first deal?
My first rental, my first, check, was something really small. I made like a couple $100. But my first rentals were in Koreatown where I lived. I lived at 38 West 31st Street, shared a bathroom with a lot of people. And I would do deals there because I'd post ads on Craigslist. That's how I meet people. And then they would call. Like that's what you did in 08 and 09. Craigslist was the thing. There was nothing else, or New York Times, but you had to pay for those ads. So I didn't want to do that. So I'd post free ads and people would call about listings that didn't exist. So you'd bait them and switch them, meet them at Starbucks and show them a bunch of other things. And hopefully they'd like you and hopefully they'd pick one. And then commission was typically 1 month's rent. And then since I was a brand new agent, my deal with the house, the brokerage was 50-50. So if I rented an apartment for $2,000, my take home would be $1,000, right? Which, I mean, at the time, like if I could show someone an apartment for a couple hours and then they'd rent one in a day and I would effectively make $1,000 in a couple hours,
Boom.
like that was crazy. And so then I was like, you know what? I'm going to go fishing every day. I want to meet people every day. If I could meet a person who rents an apartment every day, I could make $365,000 a year. Like
Rich.
that's insane. And so, I didn't take a day off for my first 3 years because I became so kind of obsessed with the work and the business and the fact that I had no boss, which I was kind of okay with, right? My first 2 years in New York, graduated college in 06 and moved to New York then. I was my own boss anyway. Like I was there, telling myself when to wake up, when to submit for auditions, castings, what acting classes to go to. Like you have to be an entrepreneur, otherwise like no one's just going to call you. People have to know you. And same thing goes for real estate. I was building up my own personal brand.
I want to talk about that for one quick second as well, because I think that that's also such a pertinent conversation in regards to entrepreneurialism today, right? Like as an entrepreneur, organizing yourself on a day-to-day basis is paramount to success, right? Like, and also being able to draw boundaries. And it sounds like, similar to me, it sounds like your first few years out there, you were just like, fuck it, balls to the wall. You're not going to stop. You're just going to go, 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 go. And for me, when I opened up the meatball shop in 2010, I didn't take a day off for the 3 months that we built the restaurant. And for 18 months after we built the restaurant, I worked, and I'm not saying this for a pat on the back, but I worked 18 hours a day. I basically slept at the restaurant and my wife nearly left me until I realized that, like, okay, I've got to figure this out. You know what I mean? Like I had to figure it out. And I think that that's such an important conversation to have for aspiring entrepreneurs, current entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs that are just straight fucking burnt out because they just don't have the stop button and they don't know how to draw the boundaries. And so can you talk to us about what that was like for you, understanding what that meant?
Yeah. I mean, I was relentless. Like I guess I had a small chip on my shoulder. I mean, I saw a lot of people around me doing deals left and right, and I couldn't understand how they were, and I wasn't. And so I do kind of credit the fact that I was a terrible real estate agent to begin with and had no clients and no network and was not from New York City as, a bit of a kick in the ass towards success because, I had something to fight for. And the fact that I had no money was a huge, huge kind of secret sauce for me because I see a lot of salespeople, a lot of entrepreneurs who have savings and have a fallback job or have family. Like you're never going to get yourself up and fight if everything's going to be okay anyway. Like for me, everything was not going to be okay. It was like I was moved to Colorado because you can't afford to live here because you failed coming to New York City. You loser. Like that was what was going through my head every single day. So I structured my day in a couple ways. I looked at like the top entrepreneurs and the biggest companies, and they all had a CEO, a CFO, and a COO. So I said, okay, well, if I'm going to do this, if I'm going to be my own business, basically, which is what being a real estate agent is, I'm going to be my own CEO, CFO, and COO. And I have no idea how to really do any of that. So I'm going to be what I called finder, keeper, and doer. So FKD. So every day I put into my calendar time to be a finder, time to be a keeper, time to be a doer. So I could break down my day. So I had structure because I had no boss. Like no one would tell me what to do. If I had an appointment at 11 and nothing else, what do you do? Just put ads up and then like, what do I meet people on the street, which I would. A lot of my first clients I met outside Saks Fifth Avenue and the Starbucks on 49th and Madison. A lot of my first clients were pregnant women because I didn't know where else to go. So I would just compliment pregnant women and tell them they looked like they needed more space. And like that worked, right?
So wait, you would just address people right on the street. You'd walk up to people and just be like, just spark up a combo.
Yeah, man. One of my a way that I would like, so I moved to New York, very little money, but I could afford rent for 2 years. That's like, I was like, all right, I got 2 years of rent. I got to figure this out. And so, but I wanted to work out, right? Like I like to work out. I know you do too. But I couldn't afford a gym. I'm not a runner. Like I don't want to go run around Central Park. And so I went into Equinox on 63rd and Lexington, the big one there. And it was like, hey, how can I work out here for free? They were like, I don't know. I was like, do you have a work study program, from college? Like, is there a trade that I could do? They're like, well, we could do work for trade. So I was a flyer guy for like 2.5 years for Equinox. I would stand outside the F train on 63rd Street. I'd go to the 59th Street Bridge. I would hand out flyers. And if I handed out enough flyers in a week, they'd allow me to work out for free the next week, as long as I worked out in off-peak hours. So I was used to being shameless. Like
I fucking love that. That makes me so fucking happy to hear. I fucking love that. That is fantastic. Yeah. That's fucking great.
Yeah, I would never do it ever again.
Anybody who wants to get a job, work out at Equinox, fucking walk in the door and say, hey, can I hand out some flyers for you guys? Brilliant. The hustle, dude. It's good.
And they agree. What does it cost Equinox to allow me to work out there? It doesn't. So, they would either have to pay somebody else to stand outside who's just going to be like bullshit, whatever, not care because they're getting paid. Or here's this kid coming in who's saying, hey, I really want to work out. I need to work out. I would tell me what I got to do to make it happen. I don't really want a clean toilets, but if I have to do that, I guess let's talk about it. And they're like, no, you can just pass out flyers and help do incentives. So I was kind of like selling Equinox on the street in order to get into the gym. So my first real estate clients were, I would look for people who had more than 2 shopping bags coming out of Saks Fifth Avenue. And I would walk up to them and introduce myself and say, you look like you need more closet space, and just try to make it funny and just try to talk. Like I'm not an extrovert by any means. Right. I got into acting in theater as a little kid because it was the only way that I could be somebody that wasn't myself, because I wasn't good at sports. I didn't have a lot of friends. I was riddled with cystic acne, like into college, which really, really crushed my self-confidence. It was really, really tough. I was overweight for a long time. So, I had no shame, right? I was just going to figure it out. And so I would go up to people and, use that kind of acting experience of being able to talk to people on the street, that improv. And some people would say yes. And I'd show them 2-bedroom apartments. Some people would just take my business card. Some people wouldn't say anything to me, but I knew, like, what's the worst that could happen if I talk to someone on the street in New York City? Like, really, what's the worst? They're going to punch me? Probably not. Like, I'll make sure I don't go up to anyone that looks like they have a weapon. Okay. I'm not an idiot, but like a regular person coming out of an expensive shop, like, they're not gonna, what are they gonna, they spit on me? All right. Okay, fine. It'll be a story I'll tell on a podcast one day. And yeah, then Starbucks was, okay, I'm not, I don't go to church, so I don't have that kind of like religious, network that a lot of people have, or the synagogue. So I'd meet people in the gym at Equinox, or I would meet pregnant women, because pregnant women love being told that they look great, right? Because they don't feel great. And I knew that early on from like my sisters. So I would go up to pregnant women and say, we just want to let you know you look beautiful. You also look like you need an extra bedroom coming up. I'm a real estate agent. If you ever need help looking for that extra second bedroom, I'd literally do anything that it takes. I'm new to the business. Would happy to crush it for you. And some of my first clients were that, and then they introduced me by email and that, and I do a couple rentals, that's how I did some of my first big rental deals. And by big, I meant like 5,000 or 6,000 a month. Rental deals where I would get like a $2,500 or $3,000 check, which would cover my rent for like 3 months. That was kind of that hustle, do whatever it takes in the beginning, which is why, and I don't mean to talk your ear off, but like, I mentor a lot of real estate agents now. Like we have a big sales membership team and a big sales course, right? We have 6,000 members in 108 countries right now. And I tell them all, and my agents in New York all the time, I'm like, if you are in a place where you're lucky enough to have people that are outside on the street that you don't know, you always have something to do. Like there are always people you can meet and people you can talk to. Just go to the street. Don't come to me and say, oh, well, I don't have business this week, or oh, I don't have business that month, or I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. You go onto the street, tell pregnant women they look beautiful. Go and profile wealthy people with more than 2 shopping bags coming out of Saks Fifth Ave. Maybe not now, COVID, right? But at the time anyway. And and compliment them on their shopping taste and tell them they look like they need more closet space. Like there's so many things you can do that people just won't do. It drives me crazy.
The best piece of advice, or one of the best pieces of advice I've ever gotten, was from a guy named Danny Meyer's partner. And he's an amazing guy. He's one of my all-time best resources and mentors in the game. And he basically sat down with me. We were sitting at Myelino one morning, and he said, Mike, just, he was like, sort of listen up. I want to share something with you that I think is what sort of summarizes the success of the Danny Meyer team. He said, every single person that walks through the door is an opportunity to develop a relationship. And if you don't develop the relationship, somebody else will. And I took that shit to heart in the realest way, because you're right. Every single person walking down the street, specifically in Manhattan, between like 14th Street and 96th Street, is an opportunity for someone to develop a relationship, whether that's a relationship financially, whether that's a relationship in business, whether that's a relationship intimately. Like there is such a dearth, such a wealth of people walking around New York City. It's filled with fucking opportunity. And so I love that you use that as a tool to mentor, because it's so true.
Yeah. I mean, now, right, now we have COVID. Okay. So, now everyone's wearing masks now, safety first, obviously. But, you don't have to be in New York City to meet new people. Like there's 100 things you can do on social media. Like Facebook was still in colleges when I got into the business. And there was no Instagram. Like there's no social media marketing when I was a real estate agent. Now, you can create groups, Facebook communities. You can go, hard on hashtags and commenting on other people's pages and build relationships socially through Zoom and everything. There's so much you can do all day long that you don't even need to be in New York City. For anybody that's listening, that's not in a major city. Like it's insane what you can do. Now just through your phone, right? Just through your computer. And I think that going back to your comment about building relationships, I think there's a big shift that we're going to see over the next 10 years, between the difference between selling a product and selling a service. I thought for a long time that I was selling real estate. I mean, I know that I'm connecting buyers to sellers and it's really not the houses, but my product is real estate. When now, given the state of the world, and you see all these other companies that, the biggest, most successful ones, right? They sell a service, and it's all about that consumer and that customer, right? And that subscription base and that membership, right? If you have a good relationship with a lot of customers, they'll pay you every month to still be there with you. And if you can take care of them, I think that's where we're going to see a lot of shakeup in the world, in the business world going forward. And I think that's, Amazon Prime is a huge example of how you take a store and make everyone addicted to it, right? You make them members.
I have said for many years, and I believe it at my core, and I'm in the hospitality business, so, relationships are everything, but I believe that the business of business is relationships, and the foundation of relationships is trust. And I think that applies to like every genre of life. I think, like the longest human study ever done in the United States is like a happiness study. And it started at Harvard in like 1937. They took 750 guys, 325 from Harvard and 325 from like the toughest streets in South Boston.
Yeah.
They basically followed these guys throughout their whole entire lives, sent them surveys to fill out every month. And what they found out over the course of the 70 something years until they started to produce data on the study was the one common thread amongst all the happy people, the people that have consistently been happy throughout their lives, was personal relationships. Relationships. It's everything. I think it's everything. I mean, how important is your network? Would you say your network is the most important thing for you in your career?
Probably not, actually. People say all the time, right? Your network is your net worth, which makes sense. And the people that I know are very important. But for me, right, in the sales business, I think for anybody that is, I think we're all in sales, whether you're selling a product or selling a service or both. The network is also is active, but it's also passive. So for me, I think the brand awareness is probably the most important thing in my business, because my network is working for me outside of the people that I actually know. And that's what I want to do, right? I want as many people out there to know that Ryan Serhant sells high-end real estate all over the world. And I've got to be able to build that brand and put that brand out there so that I get the incoming, right? I get the lead flow. I get people coming to me. And then as I meet those people, then yes, then they become part of my quote unquote network in a classic sense. But brand awareness starts first for me.
I want to shift gears a little bit, and I want to talk about habits and routine. And I know that you have some of those. So what do you have, like a very specific morning routine?
Yes. I would say that, I'm very disciplined. I grew up in a household that was very disciplined. Going back to like your born versus made whole idea for the podcast here. My parents are very conservative and they're very strict. My dad, especially. My dad, he had his first kid when he was 18, put himself through college. His mom died, his brother died. He had to raise his family. Like, I will never know what life would be like to be him. And he built a good life for himself and for our family with very strict discipline. And I always remember him waking up every day at 4:50 in the morning, having coffee and a half a banana, getting in the car and driving to work. And I always thought, like, man, that sucks. Like, why is he, but he must really love it. Like, he does it every day. So obviously he's going to love it. Otherwise, why would you do something every day if you didn't like it? Fast forward years later, I'm living in New York and I'm a real estate agent, and my parents come and see me, check in on me. And I was complaining, right? Kind of like you do. It's like, dude, I wake up so early. I work so hard. It sucks. This job, this business. Ugh. And my dad was like, wait, do you think that I wanted to wake up early and go to work every day? And it seems so common sense now, but it really fucked me up because I was kind of like, actually, yeah, because you did it for so many years. It's like, no, I would much rather have gone and played golf or like slept in or rolled into the office at 10 or 11, but that wasn't the job. And to be successful, I couldn't do that. And that was a light bulb moment for me. And really also at the same time, realizing the value of your time. So going back to like my structure, I break my day down into 1,000 minutes. Okay. You've got 1,440 minutes in every single day. And you are the CEO of your own bank of time every day. And I break those 1,000 minutes down because you have about 440 minutes that's spent sleeping, eating, kissing your wife, stuff like that. And you got 1,000 minutes to get to work and be productive. And I break those down into 15-minute increments. Talking to you right now is four of those blocks. And I then subject that to the finder, keeper, doer thing that we talked about before. So I can make sure every day that I'm thinking about my business as a CEO, as a CFO, and a COO, and I stay incredibly disciplined. My morning routine, I wake up at 4. I have my morning workout drink that, wakes me up. It definitely sucks to wake up at 4, but it's part of the job. I'm in the gym by 5. I'm done by 6:15, depending on the day, depending on the workout. In the shower by 6:30, 6:35. I get the baby at 7 because she typically wakes up right on the dot, right at 7. I help her and get her ready with my wife or for my wife by about like 7:30. And I'm out the door between 7:30 and 8 o'clock. My first appointments and first calls typically start at 8. I try not to start them before because I like to reserve that time for wife and baby. 2 nights a week, Monday through Friday. I get home by 6 o'clock so I can put the baby down, 6 to 7. The other 3 nights a week, I don't, because I've got evening appointments and events and things like that. Saturdays are for the baby. And I try to get to bed by 11 as best I possibly can. And I catch up on sleep on Friday nights. That's kind of my structure that way. I mean, I could talk to you about structure and discipline in the workday for like 18 hours, but that's like a skeleton of what we do.
So you try to get to bed by 11 and you wake up at 4. So 5 hours is your typical night's sleep.
Yeah. Monday through Friday. It's 5.
Wow. That's not a lot. And like, do you feel
but I also, no, I mean, would life be better if I slept 8 to 10 hours a night? I mean, maybe, I don't know, but like I can do it without it. And that 3 hours, right? Like if I want 8 hours of sleep, and now I don't want to I'm not shitting on anyone that sleeps more. Okay. Like I don't want to do that. And you got to do what you got to do. But if I sleep, let's do the math really quick. Okay. Let's say I slept an extra 2 hours a night. 2 times 5 is 10. Okay. So that's an extra 10 hours that I'm doing shit that other people are sleeping. So that's 40 hours a month times 12 months in a year. That's 480 hours. Okay. Divided by 24 hours in a day. That is 20 days. So that extra 2 hours that I wake up for, where I can survive and do it, that's an additional 20 days as a leg up that I have on everyone else that I'm competing with every day that is sleeping 7 hours a night, Monday through Friday. So
question for you.
Maybe I'm fucked up in thinking that way, but that's where my mind goes.
I don't think you're fucked up in thinking that way. I think that's like an analytical, logistical way to think about it. I will ask you a question though. What happens between, and this could be personal or not, but whatever. What happens between 9 p.m. and 11 p.m.?
If I'm home, I'm on the couch and I'm answering emails, talking to my wife, hanging out. I don't eat that late. I intermittent fast, which I know you know about, right? And so I eat from 12 to 6. That's always been like a comfortable window for me, 6 days a week. But I answer emails. So I start my day the night before. That's a big thing for me. I make sure, I'm a big believer in inbox zero. My life is very much an email because my clients are all over the world. Like I can't use Slack. And so I go through all email from the day. I never let an email be unread. I answer everything in real time as fast as I possibly can because that's the job. And I prepare everything that I need to know for the next day. That way, when I wake up at 4, I'm tired, angry that it's early, but I'm good to go. And I get to go to the gym and focus. And that's like my time when I just get to do my thing. And I'm not like scrambling. I'm not waking up and needing coffee and like, okay, what am I doing today? All right. What's Wednesday about? Oh shit. I got that thing at 10 o'clock. Like I don't have that kind of time to waste.
How important is fitness to you?
Coming from a kid that was pretty overweight, it's important to me in part because I found fitness when I was younger as the one thing in my fucking life that I could actually control. I couldn't control if girls liked me. I couldn't control my skin. I couldn't control how smart I was, no matter how hard I tried. I couldn't control how tall I was. I couldn't control, there's so many things I can't control. I could control how much I studied and worked, right? That's one. And then I could control my body, and I can control how much I eat or don't eat. And fitness was that thing where it's like, okay, wow, there is so much during my day, even when I was in high school, right? And especially now that I can't control, that's just so insane. I want to start every day with an hour of something I absolutely can control. And I want that hour to be by far the hardest part of my day so I can get it out of the way. Because I did 100 burpees. I did 110 burpees this morning on top of a lower body workout. And I will tell you, no matter what the fuck happens to me today, nothing today is going to be nearly as bad as that was at 5:45. Yeah. And that there's like a, that's, I don't know. It's that's my coffee. Like that's helpful for me because then I'm ready to go. And I'll tell you the days where I've like been up too late or something, I can't, it really screws up my day.
What does success mean to you?
Good question. Success means a lot to me. Success for me is my kind of forever goal, right? And it is a relative thing because when I was 24, what success meant to me is very different than what it means to me now. And I think if I really boil it down, success is consistently achieving goals you set for yourself over time. Success isn't money. Success isn't a house. It's not, it's nothing material, right? Those are wins. I think wins are very different from success. I set goals for myself in starting this new company that I started in September, and I want to be successful at hitting those goals. I will have micro wins along the way that help me get to a successful point. But that's how I think about success.
What does happiness mean to you?
Happiness to me is, I don't know, being content, right? Is being content enough to relax, really, and I think that's a question that people can answer in a lot of different ways. Obviously, I'm super happy when I'm with the baby, Xena. She's trying to talk. She has a lisp. It's ridiculous. She's like, so that obviously makes me happy, but overall happiness is being content with the choices that I'm making every day. And being able to relax into those choices, right? That makes me happy.
I've got a few more questions, but the relax, you said relax a few times. And I think for successful people, relaxing is a challenge. I know for me, it's certainly a challenge.
Yeah.
And a lot of people I've spoken to have a hard time with it. What do you do to relax? And does it actually work for you?
I'll tell you, think about working out, right? You have, you can take a breather or you can have a cool down, right? Like some people work out and then, instead of just sitting there and going on your phone, they'll go and do jumping jacks slowly. So for me, relaxing is kind of the same thing. Obviously, when I'm sleeping, I'm relaxing. I do still, that acting bug is still there. I love going to, I haven't been to a play in a long time now, but my wife and I will go to Broadway, off Broadway. We'll see shows all the time, go to movies. So that's, nice and relaxing for me. But I love being at home and working, like going through email, but without the stress of the phone calls and the deal making. Like just pure cleanup work is oddly very relaxing to me. Like before I got married, Saturdays were my office days, and God, do I miss those. Like that's, it was just and my wife and my whole family, they go to Greece every summer because they're Greek. And so I stay here by myself and I get my Saturday office days back, and it's awesome. It's also probably pretty sad. Maybe I should go to the beach more, but I don't know if I'd be relaxed there. I feel like I would be wasting my time. And I think as everybody gets more successful and as you work harder, I think we're all in those situations where you're surrounded by people you've been talking to for 10 years. And you're like, is this conversation at this bar or on this beach really a good use of my time today? Is there something else I could be doing to push my life forward? And for me, it was, relaxing while working.
Mindset. What do you think about mindset? Let's just dig into your mindset for a little bit.
I mean, mindset is the blood, right? Like my first book, was, I definitely don't want this podcast to be pitchy in any way, but my first book was Sell Like Serhant, which was a big sales book, which was like the tools of the trade, how to sell anything, how to sell real estate, yes, but really how to sell anything and how to build a sales career from nothing. And it really was a big launching pad for me for a lot of things. My second book that comes out in February, that is available for pre-order now, is called Big Money Energy, and it's my mindset book. It's my confidence anthem. It's everything that I figured out how to make and how to create within myself to have the confidence to be able to walk into a room and know what I was doing when I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. Because I would see, as a young real estate agent, I'd see other people with incredible confidence, but they hadn't been in the business longer than me. And I had no idea how they were doing it. But then there's a lot of things that they were doing that I started taking notes with, and kind of built that blueprint. And that's what the book is. But it's, mindset is kind of having confidence in yourself to do what you want to do every day. And it's really important, dude. If you're not calm in your own head and confident with yourself, no one else is going to be.
How can you build that mindset? What can you give us a couple of tips to get to the listeners to sort of start building the blocks or the foundation for that confident mindset?
Oh man, there's so many things. I mean, what I would say to start is, one of the biggest things is really drawing out a picture of future you. I think people think about their goals, they think about money, they think about where they want to be, what kind of life they want to have, but they don't know what they look like in 5 years or 10 years or 50. And going back to that play I was doing of Romeo and Juliet, father Capulet in his 60s, like I was so afraid of that guy, and really kind of quote unquote pulled the plug, like you said, around that time, because I looked at him as future me. It's like, dude, I do not want to be you. Like that's shit. I got to figure something out. I don't know. This is going to be terrible. Figuring out who you want to be, and then mapping out that game plan so that future you, when you get there, is proud of the work you've done, is really, really step number one. And I don't know any other way to do it than by writing it down and really picking up a pen and writing it down, because we're so used to typing things now. We can all type things with our two thumbs while crossing the road, and we have no idea what we just typed because it's become so second nature. We don't write enough with pens and paper. And so writing it down, writing who we want to be, and almost making it like a little time capsule and putting it into your pocket or putting it under your bed is a big way to get there. It's kind of your future you vision board. And then there's 1,000 other things in the book.
Is writing something that you do or have done? Is that a habit of yours to write shit down?
Yeah, I have my moleskin here, purple notebook. I go through these all the time. I carry it around with me all the time. People will, yeah, there you go, right? People see me throughout the street. I take photos of people all the time, and it's like me and my little purple notebook. And then I got a to-do list that's like printed. That's onto my right over here, my Post-it notes. I hate the idea that I can't control my memory, and that I can't remember everything. And I really envy Goodwill Hunting, right? Like I wish I could be that guy and forget nothing, because follow-up is the real. If you ask me, like, dude, Ryan, how do you go from doing $0 in sales to doing $1 billion in sales? I'll just tell you, more than anything, it's the power of follow-up. Follow-up.
Tell us about that real quick. I love that.
I mean, my follow-up system is the 3 F's, and it's follow up, follow through, and follow back. You follow up with absolutely everybody until they die. You follow through with everything you say you're going to do. Okay. That's also a part of being a professional and a part of being an adult. And then you follow back with absolutely everybody so that they never, ever, ever forget you. I mean, I've got countless stories, but I've met people in 2011 and 2012 that I followed up with every other week with absolutely no response, and didn't do a deal with them for 7 years. But the 7 years, email's free, follow-up is free, right? It's just making sure you do it. And then when the deal happens, future Ryan, about that mindset, is super fucking pumped that that deal got done. And I really could go back in time and thank Ryan over the past 7 years. Dude, thanks for sending emails for 7 years. Super helpful. And it doesn't take a lot of time, right?
Is there a system? So like this is great content. So the follow-up is, I agree, one of the hardest things to remember to do. So is there something that you can offer us to as like a good tool to follow up?
I mean, it depends on what you do, right? There's lots of programs, there's lots of CRMs, there's lots of systems, there's Follow Up Boss, there's Salesforce, right? Is a huge follow-up company. There's a multi-billion-dollar company built on the power of follow-up, right? So you never forget a client, you never forget anything, and it's the lifeblood of companies and Salesforce. Sales, obviously. I use we have a CRM for our business, but I use Monday.com. And that keeps track because you can really break everything down and you can export it to an Excel if you need to. And it really breaks everything down for me. So I can never forget anybody. And then I really match that with Outlook and my calendar, so I don't forget anything. And I keep things rolling that way. And that's the system that works for me. There's probably other better systems or more efficient systems, but I don't know if they'd work for me. So you got to do the system that works for you.
All right, dude, you are amazing. And I can't thank you enough for taking the time. 2 last things. Piece of advice that you'd like to give us to walk away with.
You know, I would focus on the future. Like I've been preaching that to a lot of people right now. Like it's you know, do an audit of 2020 and what you learned. Don't be so rushed to get out of the year, because I think we all learned a lot about ourselves and about the world this year. And then really focus on the future and define what it means to be you at the end of 2021. Maybe you don't even go that far, right? You don't even go, maybe you don't even go 5-10 years down the line. Like at the end of 2021, where do you want to be? And it's not a New Year's resolution. It's just a map. You're going to map out future you 12 months from now and write it down. Like write it all down and then fucking make sure it happens. Because if you write it down now and you put it in a place where you will not forget it, it's telling you, like, there's the power of mindset and the power of positive thinking has an unbelievable way of making shit happen in real life.
Ryan Serhant, are you fucking born or made?
I think I was made. I'm a product of my environment. I will never forget being in real estate for the first couple of years and then going home for Thanksgiving dinner and my parents talking to me about work. And I was just telling them about a couple deals and everyone was just staring at me. Like there's a point in one of the stories I was telling about a client who did this, that. They're all just staring at me and no one was saying anything. They weren't laughing. They weren't frowning. They were just looking at me. And my little brother looks at me and he's like, dude, you talk so fast now. You're different. I was like, I'm different. What are you talking about? I'm not fucking different. Shut up. You're fucking different. Get out of my fucking face. Sorry. I'm the same. And so it's like, listen, I am, I'm a product of my environment, man. I'm a real estate broker in New York City. You know, I make money on the streets here at the end of the day. And I think that between my parents, school, friends, not having money to having it, learning how to make it has made me into the person that I am today, and learning from mistakes, right? We're all kind of made that way.
I can't thank you enough, man. I really, really can't thank you enough for taking the time. I know you're a busy man. And so super grateful for you hopping on the podcast. This is going to be really valuable for everybody that listens in. So
appreciate you having me.
Thanks for inspiring. Keep paving the path, my brother. And we'll keep following.
All right. See ya.
Later.